go as in-depth. This one covers a smaller selection of topics, but we go pretty deep. So that's what this is all about. So it's basically the stuff you guys learned last year, except we really drill down and see how complicated we can make it. It's not going to be as, I'm sad saying this, it's not going to be as flashy as last year, because it is a college course, a college curriculum. I have to teach what I have to teach based on what University of Concordia, Nebraska has in their curriculum for this class, because it is dual credit. If you take this class and you sign up for dual credit, you're going to get college credits for it. So I have to do what they want me to do. So basically what that means is it's going to be kind of a standard class. I mean, we'll still have fun together and everything, but there won't be as many lasers and fun things like that. So you do actually have to have a textbook for this class. So I'm going to go and get those right now. I only teach it because you're Trevor makes a big deal. Trevor does drop it off.
Oh! All this equation.
All right. I'm also going to pass out the AP Physics version of our formula sheet. This is in addition to the one that we had last year, T-shirts and everything. So find a home for this. Or
This looks fun.
oh, excuse me. You'll get familiar with this as we go along. Anybody want the original physics formulas from last year? Yeah, they're kind of assumed that you know for this.
Well, I need a small guy. I think. Sure.
It's been a couple months.
Yeah.
It's been a year and a couple months. Probably looking at me like, oh yeah, I know this.
I need one.
Oh, yeah, physics class.
I should not have taken a gap year. I could have taken this last year.
The hardest thing today was when Mr. Colmar started speaking Spanish, and I was like, aha, I know some of those words. But the rest of the words I was confused.
Hola.
I was pretty proud of myself in Spanish today.
Dude, you didn't say vamos a empezar today? I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the syllabus, which is up on the board. Oh yeah.
You know what those language are?
What language?
Like the welcome.
English, Spanish.
Oh. Yeah, I think this is Spanish. I think this is German. I don't know. This is Greek, I think. I don't know what these are.
That one is
This is Chinese?
Those two are Chinese.
Okay.
One simplify, one finish.
Interesting.
It just looks more golden.
that one,
Yeah, it does.
that is Greek.
What's the
Those are big symbols.
ACCUE?
I'm not sure. That might be French.
Yeah, same French.
Okay.
But the double C, it might be.
Okay.
It probably looks German.
In a world where physics is feared, many brave students fought it valiantly and survived. Now, a select few are back for more in this challenging sequel. Congratulations on making the choice to battle the beast known as AP Physics. That is what we are going to be doing together. You are not alone in this. But this journey is not for the faint of heart. Be prepared to work and work hard. That being said, don't get discouraged if you struggle. It is AP Physics. It's supposed to be tough. I know that each of you are capable, and if you didn't have the ability to do this, I wouldn't have let you take the class. So, that being said, help each other out. Don't give up. And if you need help, let me know. So you guys know what physics is. It's the study of the physical laws that God made for our universe and world. And it's cool because it's everything that we take for granted in the real world, from light to force to energy to motion and everything in between. Everything that we take for granted and experience every single day is what physics is all about. That's why I love teaching it, because you don't have to look in a telescope to find physics. You don't have to look in a microscope or have fancy chemicals. It's what you see and do every single day is what physics is. Even in this class, you don't need a graphing calculator. You can have it if you want. I'm sure most of you have one and use it regularly. But I just use a scientific calculator. You can do that if you like. In this class especially, try and use pencils, because some of the problems that we get are pretty long. And you want to make sure that if you make a mistake, you don't have to scribble everything out. You want to just be able to erase a small part and then, go from there. Of course, I do have spare pencils in the back. If that's something you need. But yeah, use pencils. Use pencils. AP Physics is a difficult class. Do not fall behind! Exclamation point. Reading each chapter before we begin it in class is expected, and it will lay the foundation for your success. What we do at the very beginning, before we start each chapter, is you have to summarize it in your own words, and then hand that in as homework. So, because obviously, let me tell you what this is not. It is not you going through and writing down the equations, because that doesn't tell me that you actually understood what was being said. You need to take what's in that book in its college fancy language and bring it down to earth. Tell me what it actually means. And each section has a different sub-chapter, like chapter 3 is chapter 3.1. There's a 3.2, 3.3. You need to label your summaries accordingly so I can follow along with the book as you do that. And when you do that, it will help you to digest the notes a little bit easier when we do start those the following day. Generally, your summaries are going to be due the day that we begin the notes for that particular chapter. So, questions so far? Okay. And you're still here, so that's good. Yeah. So, in terms of the homework, and we'll do this more as the time comes, but when you're working on the physics homework, you generally will have a certain... So here's how it works. This is a college course, so I treat it like a college course. Most college courses have like 3 days of lecture a week, and that's kind of what this boils down to. There'll be, for every 3 days of me yammering on, there'll be 2 days where you guys get class time to work on the homework. That being said, it is a lot of homework, so you'll need even more than class time to do that. But after a certain amount of time has passed, then I make the answers available online, and you can check your work. But I do need to see that you attempted each problem before that's available for you. So that's just a general layout of how this is going to work. So, moving along. I think I just kind of summarized the homework section. Up here, same thing as last year. You're going to have a whiteboard right there with a question. That question you're going to want to write down, and you're going to want to write down the answer when we figure it out, because that will be your semester final for this class. In addition to that, occasionally I will read like a Bible devotion, which I'm going to do today because it's a good one for today. I got this book by Max Lucado, and it's a 365 student devotional, and it's got one devotion every day. So I'll just read you the one that is for August 25th here. This world sinks sometimes. There's confusion and there's sadness in this world. There's hunger in this world. There are cancer and divorce and death in this world. Sometimes you're going to pray about things, and the prayer isn't going to be answered the way you want. Jesus predicted the bad stuff. He said, "In this world you will have trouble." That's John 16. It's as if he were telling us, don't freak out when things get extreme. If he can predict the problem, he can solve it. Somewhere between the naive optimists and the doom and gloomers are the sober, honest disciples of Christ who don't panic or lose faith in the presence of problems. They know that all these problems are a natural unfolding of events, part of the plan that God laid out. Our mission is to trust and endure. We're headed for the embrace of heaven, where nothing bad will ever happen again. So, things like that I'll read.
every so often.
And of course, in that one, it's not like God originally said we're going to make this world and make it bad, but God foreknows everything, so he knew this was all coming. But anyway, a couple more things before we continue on here. In terms of the tests, these are going to take 2 days now instead of 1. So, sorry about that, but that's the way it is. And because it's an AP course and I want to make sure that you guys are set and ready to go for the AP test, day 2 of those tests will be taken directly from past AP Physics C tests. So that's one of the reasons I do that, is I really want to make sure that you get used to what they expect in terms of questions and answers for those of you who will sign up for that. I do strongly encourage that you sign up for the dual credit, though. I'm sure Mr. Langenkamp is going to come in here eventually and sell you on that. It's basically free college credits. And the price that you're paying per credit for that here is way less than what you would pay at a university. So I'd encourage everybody to think about that. Obviously, no retakes on the tests. All this other stuff is the same as last year. I don't think I have to go over much. Some of this down here is just a little different because of the pandemic. So in terms of the hall pass, that hall pass is no longer there. You actually have to come up and ask for a pass to go to the bathroom, and I'll write you out one. Obviously, you want to try and keep that minimized, especially in this class, because whenever we're giving lessons, they're very important. And if you miss a little bit, that might mess up, the meaning of the rest of the notes. So you really want to make sure you're in class for this one. So do your best to hold it, but that's okay if you got to go. Just come on up and ask, and I'll give it to you. I know you guys are responsible, so I won't ask any questions. If you miss class, make sure you get the notes. And again, you don't need to find them from a student. The notes are going to be posted on Schoology along with the lessons. So if you miss a class, 1, get the notes from Schoology, 2, watch that lesson. You need to make sure that you keep up with things in that way. Everything else, we'll just figure out as the days go along. All right. A couple other things before we adjourn for the day. One of the things that we're going to be doing is not starting out with physics, because oh yeah, yeah, I have some, but I'm really trying to make it so we don't have too many students clumping together in groups. So I'll just take that one day at a time and see. A majority of this is going to be the book homework, working on stuff in class, but we'll see. We'll see, one thing at a time. But like I was saying, when we start, we're not doing physics right away. Because, and this is going to really sound intimidating, in order to do AP Physics, you need to know calculus. So we're going to spend the first 3 weeks or so learning about a year's worth of calculus. And we're going to be able to use that for our analysis in physics. So it's obviously not the depth that you're going to go if you're signed up for AP Calc 1 or 2. But by the end of the first 3 weeks, you're going to feel like you're way ahead of the game if you're also in those classes, or if you take them later or at another time. So basically we look at the easy way of doing calculus. Because a lot of calculus, you're learning the hard way to do it, and then later on they show you the easy way. I just kind of show you the easy way right away. But anyway, I want to show you guys a card trick. I've shown a lot of people this. Come on in, Dan. But I do it for all my other classes in hopes that eventually take another class of mine. So step one, I need somebody to pick a card and show that card to everybody else in the room. Oh no. Eventually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little shuffle here. And as soon as you want me to stop shuffling, just let me know and we'll toss her in another shuffle. Oops. We don't need that. Okay.
Turns out that was the trick, guys, right there.
Alright, now I need some magic words. Abracadabra. And hopefully your card will reveal itself to us. Now what's important right now is that you guys, in your mind, have to remember what card that was chosen. And I'm going to guess was it the Ten of Hearts? Okay, good. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take that card. I'm going to place it here and just, how about this? I'm just going to make sure I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to take the stack of books. There's nothing underneath it. Check your mark. And I'm just going to drop a line right there. And what you guys need to do is make sure I don't get at that card. Sound good? Alright. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shuffle these cards one more time. You need to tell me when to stop. Alright. Take a look at that card. Remember what it is. Don't tell me. And we need some more magic words. Bibbidi, bobbidi. And hopefully that card will reveal itself as one of the
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
As
Oh.
you must focus. Focus on the magic. There's a lot of cards here, it's just under some.
Go back.
Oh no.
This way?
Yeah.
Did you see one?
No.
Oh no.
Oh, God.
It says it's supposed to transform that card into a blue one. Well,
Do it again. Sorrow marker.
I suppose there is one blue there, right?
What is?
Don't tell me there's two over
That's
there.
red.
Why don't you just
Don't
go
tell me
ahead
there's two over there.
No, it's gonna be the.
just for the fun of it, let's take that card out.
What is it? I show it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Is that the card? And this is a legit deck.
Yeah.
So that was part of
Wait,
that.
I want to see this step.
I thought it was gonna be the first card. Oh, there are gonna be two. Wait.
Now, I'd be happy to show you how that works in a week. I'd like for you to stir up.
Oh, I'm not gonna say the
I
question.
don't remember. That one's good.
I was sitting on.
Yeah, just a little bit. You guys want to see another one?
Yeah, yeah.
This one.
Can you do it again so I can remember?
I can try and do it again.
Hey, you guys have time.
I'll see.
Right, that's, I saw them take it out.
Where's the red?
I knew how half of it worked.
Where's the cameo?
It's in here, it's right here.
Is it blue?
No, it's red. You put another blue one on top of it. And you picked up two cards of it.
Don't you tell me how we did that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So this other one is, that one is, you gotta remember a lot of steps. And this one's a lot easier. And you probably are gonna pick up on this right away. But if you pick up on it, don't say anything. Alright.
I got it. Which one's blue one?
Alright. Somebody who doesn't know how this works, I need is a volunteer.
I got it.
All right,
We will.
Potter, I'm going to tell you exactly what card you are going to pick. Are you ready? Yeah, I'm going to tell you the number and the suit. You're going to pick the 6. You're going to pick the 5 of clubs, Potter. Now what I need you to do is I need you to point at 2 of these star-looking things, please. These 2? Okay. Point at 1 of the remaining stars. Okay. Point at 2 of the remaining 4 cards. These 2? Okay. Point at 1 of the remaining 2 cards. All right.
That's not what I was thinking. I'm not one more yet.
So this one, it's basically,
It's a common game.
yeah, it's yeah.
Oh,
You guys have
Because
the
you,
you pick the one you don't want to take.
yeah.
Yeah.
He chooses if it goes away or stays, so he knows right where. It was very conveniently the same until the last.
right.
Yeah, it's very convenient. That's why I said it worked out really well.
Mhm.
All the way up to the last.
But you'd rather be like the first one, right? You
Mhm.
the last one.
Yeah. So if you didn't follow completely, all I did is like this was the first one on top, so I knew I wanted him to pick this card. So I just put it somewhere where I wouldn't forget where it was. I usually just put it really close to me. And then you got your 4 things here. Yeah. That works too. Yep. So then it didn't matter where he pointed. If he pointed at these 2, I would get rid of those 2. If he pointed at these 2, I would get rid of those 2. And you just keep going until you're down to the very last one that you wanted to pick. And a lot of times, the first time through, people don't realize that it doesn't matter what they're pointing to, but I'm the one pointing. So that's a fun little one. Alrighty, head back to your seat.
I guess so. I'm the one you like. I'm gonna try to sure. I know one part, but it's not good.
Alright. Oh, those of you watching at home, I hope you fast forwarded that. Okay. So, again, you guys have been in this class before, so you know kind of how I work things. Because, let's see, what else can I say here? Same thing is true with homework this year as was true last year. When I check homework twice, I check it once to make sure that everything is attempted, and then the second time in this class I check it for accuracy. So, I mean, that's why the answer keys are on Schoology, or they will be at a certain point. And so when you do finish all your work, it should be all set and ready to go with the proper answers. And it's one of those things where you have to make sure that you know how you got to those answers. Do not just copy down the answers. You will get nowhere and you will fail very fast. So you have to make sure that you keep up with this material, because it does build on itself, and it builds on itself, and it builds on itself. You got to make sure that you don't get caught behind. And I don't mean to make this sound like it's going to be an awful experience. I don't mean to. I just want to make sure that you're ready, because this is a tough course. And you got to make sure that you're ready to buckle down and spend a lot of time on the homework, and spend a lot of time in class working on the homework. For some of these sections, yeah, there's a lot of homework, but maybe you got 4 straight days to work on it in class. So yeah, it's a little bit of both, but it is a lot of work. So if you do have a very packed schedule if you do have something where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so overwhelmed this year, and I don't know if there's a way I can commit to all this time. You might want to rethink about being in the class, because it will take a big time commitment. That being said, you're all capable of passing this class. Okay, again, like last year, anything that isn't turned in on time is a 0 till I get it, so make sure that you take care of your business on that. Being mostly seniors and students I've had before, I know you're responsible, and I know that I don't need to run after you with those things and that you'll take care of it. So just wanted to remind you about that. Phones, I was going to have everybody put the phones up there, but again, they don't like us having kids in the same area all together at once. So you can have them on you, just do not. Here's how a lot of students fail this class. I don't want to say a lot. Most students don't fail it. Here's how half the students fail it. Students who really struggle with AP Physics usually end up in this bad habit. Say there's 3 days of notes that I give, and there's 4 days of class that I give to work on it. The first 3 days they spend monkeying around on their phones. And the 4th day, they copy the answers from some of their friends. So, that's fine. They end up, well, it's easy for me to tell when people have copied off each other, because answers should not look as similar, and it's very easy for me to tell that. So, just obviously don't do that, because it's very easy to spot. And you will be penalized for that. That is cheating. But what I do see a lot of students do then is, even if they get partial credit on that homework, if maybe they work by themselves and they do get the homework done in that final day, and then work, a long time after they go home to get it done, they don't do well on the tests, because you can't just cram it all into one day. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of time, and it's a lot of effort, and you have to spread that out. If you don't, you're going to overload and you're going to implode. So don't let that happen to you. Don't fall behind on stuff. When I give you class time to work on homework, spend it working on the homework. That's why that time is there. All this stuff you guys know. Extra credit is in AP Physics, just like it was in regular physics. Anything physics related, every half page is worth 1 point. You can do that up to 5 pages for 10 points per semester. We also still do Mythbusters days in here. So there you go. And those are also with some extra credit there too. Again, and as I mentioned to you guys, the very first day of school last year, when I believe I said something like, you're closer to other teachers and coaches and stuff, but my door's always open. Same thing here. And now that I've had you all 1 year, I'm glad that you guys are back. And again, if you ever just want to come in and talk and stuff, that's what I'm here for. I'm free first hour, I'm free 7th hour. Before school, after school, physics related or not, you're always welcome to come in and talk. So just make sure that you know that. You guys know what the room is all about. Pencils are in the back. All right. So I'm just kind of curious. Yes.
They just quickly talk about the format of the test. Like, how is the test? How many multiple choice? How many...
Sure. The AP test that they give in the spring has 3 free response questions on it, and it has, I believe, 35 multiple choice. You get 45 minutes for each section. Yep. So that's about 15 minutes per free response question, and they're long, and some of them get pretty complicated. But again, those are things that you'll be practicing each and every chapter in this class. So yeah, and when I say we have 2-day tests, that's not something we're going to start at the very beginning, because the AP questions that I'm going to be having you guys do on those tests, most of them have material from later chapters. So I can't really do that until we cover enough that you can actually do that sort of thing. So I believe we start doing those 2-day tests either in the second or the third unit for this class. I suppose something else I can show you is the Schoology. Of course, I shut that down. So we gotta wait forever. Hey, at least Schoology is working now, right?
Yeah.
Along with the rest of the internet. This is a fun way to end the day for me, having you guys. Because this is, even though it's going to be a tough class, you guys are going to be working together. You know, it's not the sort of thing where I say you have to work on your own. You're going to help each other out. And for some sections, maybe that means one person is going to be really good at Newton's laws. Maybe a couple other people are a little bit better at energy. And so you kind of spread it around and you help each other out. And this is a class that you work through together. So make sure that even though we're all wearing masks, except for me up here because I'm teaching, make sure that you do kind of work together and help each other out with that homework. So Schoology is up there. Calculus, like I mentioned, is the first thing that we're doing this year. So first, this is all in order. So first, Calculus Worksheet 0. This is kind of some basic math stuff I want to make sure we're all on the same page with before we dive into actual calculus. That begins right here, Calculus Worksheet 1 notes. And then there's Calculus Worksheet 1. And there's Worksheet 2 notes. And there's Worksheet 2. And you get the idea. Eventually there'll be a folder that says videos, and that video folder will be the actual lessons, the lectures that I give. And you can watch those over and over and over to your heart's content if you have trouble with anything, which is a good habit to get into, because the notes I specifically made so that they are very as applicable as possible to the actual questions that you'll be given. And the homework is both worksheet and book, as you'll see as we go along with that. And I think that's about it for this. I'm going to stop the recording.